Hello, Rachael Abba Mentor here, checking in. How's it going? So, just jumping into this, just thinking about frequency and where on the spectrum you are in any given topic, any given thought idea, any given judgment that you might have. So, I'll give you an example. The example of money, which is highly triggering for many of you. The idea of money, whether or not you have a lot of it or not enough of it or none, right? Or hardly any, where you're panhandling. So there's this judgment that comes with it, and the idea of people who believe that there should be like a baseline income, people who believe every human being is deserving and can expect to have basic living expenses covered, a roof over their heads, food to eat, access to medical care, all of this stuff, where this is about your dignity as a human being. They now argue against the ones who have a lot of money, the billionaires, right? So there's a judgment around who requires that much money. You're just hoarding, and you're the reason why other people do not have. Then on the other end of the spectrum, you have the uber rich, the millionaires and the billionaires in specific, right? There are a handful of them, where they now look at the other end of the spectrum, accusing the ones who do not have, who are not in their circles, as not being worthy of it, because if only they would just use their intellect, use the resources available. So there's this accusation that's happening of you're lazy, maybe you're not smart enough, maybe you're not trying hard enough, maybe if you pulled yourself up by your bootstraps. So this is what I find really fascinating, that both are arguing on the same spectrum, from the same frequency. Both are arguing and blaming and accusing on the exact same frequency. So they never actually see the situation from common ground because they're in each other's blind spots. So this takes it to a whole other level. It's not even about right or wrong, because clearly on the same spectrum, both can be true. So what's the solution to this? I often talk about non-judgment in my work and, looking at yourself as a whole and complete being, looking at what is true and not true about you with curiosity. Because this is what lifts the veil. Accusing the uber rich and accusing the uber impoverished, both sides have valid arguments from their perspectives. Both can be true. What I see in this is the judgment piece, the separation, the othering of each other is what causes the apathy on one end and the victimhood on the other end. It's the same coin, same conversation. It's just a coin toss. So my invitation in this, as is in any subject, any area, is to lean into the discomfort and look at and be open to the possibility of being wrong and right at the same time without having a judgment about it. What does the other side argue that you might not see? And what do you argue that the other side might not see? What is the solution? The more the other, perceived other, knows about who they're accusing, the more familiar they are, because it's really difficult. I find in my experience, it's really difficult to other someone who you perceive is a part of you. It's really difficult to do that because You get to know them. You get to be intimate with the details of their life, their struggles, their perspective, the way they think, their belief system. When you get inside this level of intimacy, it becomes really difficult to pass policies and to make decisions that will negatively affect someone you consider is part of you. So is money the issue? Is power the issue? These are all the judgments that keep, in my opinion, keep the conversation just circling and never really going anywhere. I see it more as not an issue of money. Money's not bad. It's not an issue of power. Power to be powerful. Power is not evil. There are no judgments around it. It is the separation, it's the othering, the disconnect, the disharmony between people. It comes down to relationship. The othering is what creates perfect breeding ground for decisions and actions to be taken without any thought to the ramifications, to the effect, the negative effects on others. This is what harms. This is what poisons. This is what stunts development. This is what can be perceived and experienced as violence and a recklessness and a disregard for humanity and dignity. When there's no connection, when there's no sense of being in the other person's shoes, when there's distance. Remember I talked about the frequency and being on the same spectrum, but on far ends of the same spectrum. See, you're on far ends, rich, poor, billionaire, pauper. The distance between the two is the issue that allows all this suffering to continue. It is not the thing itself. It is not money. It is not power. It is not those things in and of themselves that creates the suffering. It's the distance between the billionaire and the pauper that makes what it is we can all agree is suffering in the world. People not having what they would require to be able to have a decent quality of life. It's the distance we get to address. This is what I'm inviting you to get closer. And no matter the triggers and no matter the judgments you might have, lean into the discomfort of what you think you know about the other side. Lean in and put yourself in the shoes of the other, perceived other, and see if there's something you learn about yourself. Okay, so until next time, I see you and I honor you. Remain blessed.